that things because I have futuristic president queens that's going to grow up in this society. This is their generation. What's going on right now is they carbon footprint for them to follow into what they purpose are. And we are the forefront of that. Right now, COVID or this pandemic has made an opportunity to make things a lot better, I feel like.
You just have to get creative. That's number one.
Yep.
Anytime you are thinking of doing something that you normally don't do, the main thing is to step outside the box of normality. Anything that's repetition, regular, something that you have knowledge of doing a lot or knowing a lot, that won't help you right now. You got to jump outside that box and look at the world around the box. And that will be able to open your mind up to the change once it's embraced. To be able to say, okay, they did this prior to like this, so I'm going to do it. Flip it. You can remix it however way you want. And one thing about it is part of a new wave. So, of course, anything new, everybody like new. I like new. Everybody like free. I like free. So that's a great way to look at things. It's not always about how much money can I make out of doing something different. It's how many people can understand my purpose in life, and join with it in unity, and embrace that and understand it in a non-judgmental way. Because we live in a world that is full of judgment when nobody has the room to judge. So I ask and I challenge all of our listeners to think of some scenarios. Come up with some scenarios. Well, no. What if you went to a car lot? And you know how our ways of thinking is when you go to a car lot, you see a car you like, you go test drive it. And what if they tell you when you get ready to do the test driving part that the car is going to drive you? You sit in the passenger seat. You let the car drive. The car has the coordinates. The car has everything. You are the safest. It's the safe, top efficiency car ever. So you don't have to worry about anything but just sitting back and relaxing.
Oh, well, that's easy for me. Shoot, I've been driving half of my whole life, and shoot, I'll be the first customer.
Well, I'm gonna be on the opposite end of that and say I do not trust cars just yet to be driving me anywhere.
Well, I seen on some of these car shows that come on TV. I done seen some futuristic cars, Mercedes and Audi.
Yeah,
I think Audi is like leading the way of it. Self-efficient, drivable cars. I even seen trucks that will drive by themselves.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. While I'm on the road riding with that car and I'm looking at that steering wheel and I'm looking at the driver's seat and I don't see nobody in it, my little foot gonna be turned to the side. Like, if any time, at any minute, I can jump out. Because that would definitely be some whole, like, futuristic type ways. But that's what it's about.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it's about.
I got a futuristic scenario for you. And this one right here, please don't do this to your people, but man, this right here is a scenario for you of the future.
Okay.
And it might be mixed into the present right now. Just think of this as a scenario now. What if you woke up, turned on the TV, and it say breaking news, or some type of way it was some type of code that was broken, and it allowed people to know what to look for if your mate or your friend or anybody walking around is a clone?
Oh, I would be like, let me see your expiration date. Make sure they still walk around here fresh, because some people looking like zombies. They might be expired. So, yeah, a clone? I got to think about that a little bit more, King.
Yes, and man, I'm just trying to open our minds up to the future, man. I mean, it might be robots. It's going to be self-flying planes, all kind of stuff. Are you going to be put into the future? Yeah. Or are you going to stay in the past?
Exactly.
You have to convert your mind, and that's one thing I think COVID is changing right now. Ways of thinking of the future.
Shifting your mindset. And even though, people have a lot of changes that's going on in their life involving their families, their work, just anything that they normally used to do, just know that is never going anywhere. but the way that you do it, the way that you interact, the way that everything, all of that has changed. So the best way to really sit back and comprehend that is just to have a positive mindset that change is good.
And then my final scenario we got is the biggest one that's right around the corner.
Okay.
And this scenario is after November the 3rd, if everything goes right with the voting, or if it don't be no delays in the court, or however this.
King, you already know if they telling people in advance, when you mail your vote in, we gonna have to recount, and then our president might not even want to leave. That right there is telling you it's going to be backed up to January.
So what is y'all going to do, or how do you feel about if President Trump win or Vice President Joe Biden win?
I really just want to say this campaign is an assault to our intelligence. We are way smarter than this. We have seen the background of Trump and the background history of Biden. And I just say that a smart person, a very, very smart person, will look at the policies of each one of them. If any of those policies on either one of those candidates really shows a change for the future, then I would vote for them. I'm not saying don't vote. I'm saying vote, because your vote matters and your voice counts.
And I say message transition to changes mission, because your voice matter to us. You matter to us.
Yes.
Everything matters to us, man. I mean,
email us at tcmissionspeak@gmail.com.
Just to reiterate, that's what this scenario shows. We wasn't really questioning ourselves. We were questioning what would y'all do in these different types of scenarios. You can hit rewind on Podbeam and find this show and hear all these different scenarios and write down your answers to them, and we'd be pleased to go over them on the next show. But yes, that's what the scenarios was. These scenarios was for the people.
And thank you all for listening to us. We really just want to say that the King and I appreciate you listening every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock p.m. We try our hardest to make sure that we have these shows out, because when I tell you some of the messages that we have not read, that we have received, was like, hey, y'all 1 minute late submitting your show. Hold up, wait a minute. I didn't know we was on the timer like that, but really we are, because we have a message and we have a lot of listeners out there who want to receive that message, and we are very grateful that you are right there at telephone, at your computer, your laptop, listening to us, taking in the information, thinking, using your brain. We love it, and we love you.
And giving us a response to what you have to say, because we will speak it out for you, and that's what Transition to Change's mission is. It is the bridge to communication. Now, as we move along at the last section of our show here, we are finna introduce our next show.
The current state of the climate.
Yeah, it's a very needed show. I mean, these shows that we chose to start out with on Transition to Change's mission is all related to what's going on now. We have a lot of other topics, but the last previous shows was related to what's going on now. And that's what Transition to Change's mission is doing. Talking about issues or events that is going on now. And right now, what's going on with the climate, some take it as a joke, some take it as fake or whatever. But everybody know that if you are of age, you have time on this earth to make your common footprint. It's time for us to make a common footprint for the young ones. And that's why we came up with this show, to talk about some topics that we finding out about information about climate control. We can have our ears open to the ones that don't believe in the climate control thing that's going on.
But it's very serious. And one thing that I just want to say is carbon dioxide and other heat trapping gases are the main drivers of global warming. If you don't know anything else, remember that. While climate change cannot be stopped, it can be slowed. So to avoid the worst consequences of climate change, we'll all need a collective effort to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050 or sooner. So we don't have much time. We in 2020 right now. Do the math.
And so that's why we coming up with this show. And like I said, all our episodes and series are for you, Morse, to be able to leave a message. And we say this last session to give an introduction to that show for you to take this information and maybe write some emails to us about your opinions about why it might be real, why it might not be serious to you, or why it is serious to you. And we will read them out, and we will give out knowledgeable information about what we have, seek information about what has changed with the climax and what the future might hold.
So, 4 billion years from now, the increase in the Earth's surface temperature would cause a runaway greenhouse effect, heating the surface enough to melt it. By that point,
that's not going to happen, because what we finna do with COVID has changed the way we do things. Yes, my people, we are finna change, and we finna help change. I mean, man, all these skyscrapers and huge mansions and big trucks with all this weight, all these sinkholes are coming up. I mean, 8 billion people on the planet.
But I'm going to tell you something. Back in November 2001, the United Nations Population Fund, they reported that the world population is projected to be 9.3 billion people in 2050. That's from 6.1 billion. Then, with the most of the increase in developing countries, even as the population of industrialized countries will remain stable. So we about to get a whole lot more people.
Yes, smart people. Your daughters, your children, my children, they are the ones that are going to review what we came up to of the answers. And They are the ones that are going to change or do more engineer to the footprints that we are doing at this moment.
Right. So next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m., we'll be talking more about the state of the climate. But for more information about this show and all other shows, previous shows, please visit us at transitionalchangesmission.wordpress.com. You can also find us at Transitional Changes Mission at podbeam.com, and you can also email us at tcmissionspeak@gmail.com.
Yes, this is a family-friendly podcast show, and like I said, we need the kids to write in. We need all of you, man. We got to embrace this change, and hopefully a little 10-year-old young man or 14-year-old young lady can write us an email and tell us about what you think we should do with the next common footprint of our generation. And yes, my people, we ask you to hit the share button, hit the like button. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, hit the share. If you're on YouTube, hit the like. Amazon, man, we need it all, man. Thank y'all so much, and we sure appreciate that. But make sure you hit that share button. Thank y'all for tuning in to the best podcast show in the world, Transitional Changes Mission.
And have a good night. Thank you for listening. This is your host, once again, King and Queen Summers. Have a great night.
Thank you. Booyah.
Thank you for listening to my mama and for daddy podcast show.